Hello and welcome back to CIT Tech Tips. Today we are going to be talking to you about how to make a Cyberbot roaming robot. Alright, so now I'm going to first show you how to build the robot, then I'm going to show you how to get the programming for the robot, and then finally we'll be showing off how it works. Alright, so first thing we're going to want to get our servo, and we're going to make two holes across from each other on the second hole inward. So first, get an X-Acto knife, and you're just going to want to make the holes to the size we've already got in our video here, because I already made these holes previously, but just cut them into that length so the screws will fit good. Alright, so next thing we're going to want to be doing is we're going to grab our whole robot, and we're just going to see that bottom screw right there, right next to the servo, connecting to the top of the robot. As you can see, I'm going to start unscrewing that. Just unscrew that most or completely, and so it will allow us to do our next step, which is just move that pillar up and slide this piece right in between the robot and this pillar here. Make sure it's on that hole so the screw will be able to fit through. And see, now we're going to just after that, we're just gonna screw that piece in, then we're gonna put this screw here, and we're going to put the other piece for that one. So just grab that piece, and you're going to want to make it just towards that way, so make it face away from the robot. Then you're just going to want to screw the nut in there, and then just tighten it so it's completely tight, and it will completely stay still. Next thing you want to get is you want to get your servo, and you're going to want to start putting the screws to connecting your servo onto these pieces that we've made away from the robot, so there will be a little bit of freedom for the motor and the servo to move. So after we put those screws in, we're going to want to just make sure they're all the way through the holes on each of the specific places, and you're just going to want to do this by looking at each of them and making sure that they're all going completely through, and then just hold it tight like this. Next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to get some more nuts, and we're going to screw them in onto each of these separate places, and we're just going to make sure that the servo is completely tight in all of these locations. Now we're going to want to do it for the other side too, so just grab it again and screw the nuts in on that side. Make sure they are completely tight so there's not very much movement that is allowed by the servo. And then after this, we're going to want to get our distance sensor, and we're going to start putting in these kind of plastic screws in. And then we're going to put some distance makers in on the screws to separate the distance sensor from the metal piece we're putting it on. After that, just put the metal piece onto it. Make sure the screws go into each of these holes, just like I am doing now. And then we're just going to get these plastic nuts here, and we're just going to screw them on some more. This can be a little bit annoying, but just make sure they're all completely tight, so there's, again, not much movement that is allowed by that distance sensor, so it's all just still on there and will not move like I'm doing now, and just get it on and screw it in. Next thing we're going to grab those screws and place this metal piece in. This is why we made those holes bigger, because we're going to have to put those screws through those holes on each one, so just line up that metal piece with those and just place these screws in like I'm doing now, so just do that. And then after that, we're just going to want to make sure that it's fully getting through each of those holes on both sides like I'm doing now. After that, you're just going to want to put this plastic piece on, or more like rubber, I guess, but just put it fully on, covering that hole so the wires don't get harmed very much through the movement of that. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to want to put on that wire right here, as you can see, make sure the black is on the ground one, aka on the left for here. Make sure that the black is on that side, or else it will not work, because it will not be lined up to the correct ports. And then we're just gonna, again, black to the ground one, or aka right now it would be the one furthest down from what we're looking at, so make sure that the black is on that ground one. We're lining up to that row, and then we're gonna want to grab the wire for the other ones, and we're just gonna want to, again, put it through that hole that we have that rubber circle on. Just get it through. It can be a little bit annoying because there's already a wire in there, but just get through and then plug it into the other ports right there. Again, making sure that black is down, aka on the ground one, and then this will make it sure that the servo is plugged into P16 and the distance sensors into P17. So after this, we're going to want to go onto our manual, which is linked in the description of this video. You're going to go onto this website, and this is where you'll be able to find all the information about what we're doing. This is the projects for how to create this. So this is just the Cyberbot part of it that we just navigated to. You can just look through on all this. There's reviews, all of that. But what we're interested in right now is these tutorials, so we're going to click on them. Then once we're there, we're just going to navigate to the tutorial we are interested in right now, aka roaming with the ping. And then we're just going to go through the page. Here you can look more at this is more a scientific one of how it's working, and this is some basic descriptions of how to first set it up, and then this is the code for the more complicated full roaming procedure. So after that, you're just going to want to navigate back to our manual and click on the programming website. This is the website where we'll put in all of the programming for the robot to make it roam. So first thing first, we're going to want to download each of these files. First, just download the ping file. We'll show you it cannot detect if it has virus. I promise you it doesn't. You can literally see the code right there. None of it is a virus, so just download that anyway for each of the ones, and then you can just go back into our coding thing, and then just select each of the ones you just download and open them up. So do the ping one and the Cyberbot one, and you have to open both. Next thing you want to do, this is our code for the actual roaming procedure. You can download it here. You could also just copy and paste the code from the manual, which is right under this, which will show in a bit, but just, you can open that. There's your code, easy. Additionally, you can just go here, so highlight all of that code, and you can also just see the code in our manual, and just copy that, go onto here, Control A, Control V. And there's your code all in there. This should work. You might need to change your port depending on what your ones are set up to, but first make sure that WL and WR, you can change those things to decrease the drift on your robot. From my robot, this was the one where the drift was pretty minimized, but yours would probably be different, so just make sure to work with that. This is also where you can see the ports. Change that 17 to a different number if your port isn't 17, but as I showed in the video, it should be if you did it like I did it. So next we're going to just connect our thing. So these are some directions after you hit the send a microbit, and just click on your robot and connect, and then it flashed the code, and as you can see now, it is working. And this is just so this works because once you've uploaded that code, it is saved into that little chip in the back of it. I guess it's not so little, but you can also do a bunch of other stuff with that chip, and you can also see that servo now moves across, which is all making it change, so the distance sensor is detecting to see if there's any things in the way, and if the distance sensor does detect something in the way, then it is as simple as making the code will make it. So as you can see in a little bit, it just changes the direction for a split second and then goes straight continuing. So it again will detect something's right there, will make it its adjustment and keep going straight, which is, I think, pretty cool. And anyways, this will just keep working and it shouldn't run into any issues. If there's any drift, you're going to want to change those WL, WR, and make sure to change all the WL, WRs, not just one of them, because that's just what's required for this program. So, yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I hope you do too. And anyways, thank you for watching CIT Tech Tips for this video about a roaming robot, and this is from Cyberbot that we've got these robots from. Not sponsored, sadly, but it is still all pretty cool. Remember to like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, comment any questions or comments you may have about this video or about videos you might like to see, and always check out our other videos. I promise some of them are pretty cool. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.